There. So I just did this workshop called Create a Simple, Aligned, Satisfying Life That You Absolutely Love. And I'll show you how to stop saying yes to the things you don't want to do without guilt. And there was this really amazing part that I did that everybody that was just in the workshop was like, wow, that just blew my mind. So I thought I'd pull that out and share it with you to give you some clarity, because I think that a lot of very intuitive people have high levels of intuition, have really developed it, have done a lot of personal growth work, or even focused on manifesting, that aren't seeing the results in their life yet. They're really struggling with this one piece. So this could really contribute to you. So let me share with you what this is. Intuitive, but not living the life you absolutely love. Like if you get real with yourself and go, yes, I'm intuitive. Yes, I've got awareness. Yes, I'm very highly aware or psychic, but is my life a reflection of what I truly desire or not? And if it's not, this is for you. But also another key indicator is if you're doing things that you don't want to be doing, this is for you. So this is the feeling focus result chart here. And this is where we're going to look to find out what's going on. Why isn't your life a reflection of your greatest dreams, your most satisfying life, the things that you absolutely love? Like, why isn't your life taking off like crazy? And this is something that I struggled with a lot, because I started to become very aware that I was very aware and was very psychic, but no matter what I did, it wasn't showing up on the external life in my life. And what was happening is I was struggling and I was very much stuck. Here's some insights for you. On this chart, we at the very bottom, we have when you're focused on, like when you're focused right here on yourself, then what happens is we have the feeling of fear and scarcity. And the result is you're concerned and we have forced motivation. So one of the things that people always say to me is to say, oh, well, if I could just get motivated to do the thing, whatever the thing is, doesn't matter what the thing is. If I could just get the motivation to do the thing, then, I would have the result. So people say, if I could just get the motivation to work out, then I would be fit. If I could just get the motivation to do the marketing, then my business would be successful. If I could just get the motivation, whatever, to do the thing, then you would have the result. If you're saying this to yourself, what you're doing is you're coming from this self-focus. And what the feeling is of fear or scarcity. If I just did the thing, but then the next thought is I can't do the thing. And then underneath that is a fear of failure, a fear of success, lack, scarcity, and all of this other stuff in there when you're in this pattern. If you've ever been in this pattern, or maybe you're in it right now in an area of your life, you know how debilitating it can be. Because what we think we want is the result, right? We want the business to be successful. We want the new clients tomorrow. We want to be able to create messaging in our business that converts. We want to be able to follow through for ourselves. We want to be able to say no to those things, but we're not. So what happens is the result is we become concerned, and then we try to force motivation. We try to force ourselves to do things. And what that usually ends up with is doing things you don't want to do. And the biggest thing is because we're not functioning from the aware place that we have access to. We're functioning from fear and scarcity. Okay. And this is what keeps us going around and around in circles, because then we get over concerned. We try to force choices, and then we end up making really misaligned choices. Now, if you're in a position right now where you're doing things you don't want to do, which I think if you aren't living a life you absolutely love, you are doing things you don't want to do, whether you've acknowledged them or not. A lot of times I hear people say, and I've said it myself, is, oh, it's okay because, oh, I do that because I love them. But really underneath, if you look at, do you want to keep doing that thing? You don't want to. Now, one of the things for me, years ago, was when I moved to California, I really didn't want to be obligated to go back to see my family on holidays. Now, I wanted to see them, of course. I just didn't want to have to do it on holidays. I wanted to be able to do other things on holidays if I wanted to. And so when my mom asked me, are you going to come back for Thanksgiving? I said, no, I'm not. And I'm not going to obligate myself to that plan. I'm going to see what I want to do. And that really upset her because, her feelings were hurt. And I realized how much I had chosen my life based on, not wanting to hurt other people's feelings. But what I really was committed to at this time was making sure that I chose what was in alignment for me, not just to make other people feel good because of my choices, right? And so this is where we get caught up in making choices based on other people. We don't want other people to feel bad. We don't want other people to not love us. We don't want other people to be mad at us. We don't want some sort of result. So we keep making a choice that we don't want to do. Now, another one of the sort of twists on this is that we make choices based on the fact that if we don't make that choice, everything's going to fall apart. Right. And so if you have a partner or family member or kids even, and you're supporting them somehow, then if you don't do that thing, you really believe that if you don't do that thing, it's going to fall apart. But the truth is that what that choice is it, number one, it's misaligned for you because you have a scarcity belief in there, like something's not going to happen, but also you don't believe in them. And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. It's like, wait a second, I actually want to believe in these people or my kids, but really I don't based on my actions. And so that's a big one to come out of enabling and into your power and saying, I don't actually want to do this anymore. And I trust that you're going to figure it out. Right. And so this is where we step into the next level, which is intuition. You're highly aware. That's why you're watching this video. It's probably why you're in my world, is you already know you're aware. You already know you're psychic. You already know you are intuitive. But here's where this gets stuck. Now, for me, I thought intuition was the top level. Like that's the primo. If I'm aware, then my life is going to work. Like, of course, I'm going to choose aligned choices. Well, not really, because what happens is you get into confusion and doubt. And that's the feeling. So if you're doubting yourself at all, or you're confused by making so many choices, then that leads to indecision and inaction. So then we're not actually following through on our awareness. Now, I see this happen all the time, and all of my clients are highly aware, highly intuitive, have already done personal growth work, have already done work on their awareness and their intuition. Also, most of them have done manifesting as well. But their intuition isn't creating clarity. It's creating confusion and doubt, and then resulting in indecision and inaction. And then what that does is it keeps you in the same patterns because you can't choose beyond them. So the results in your life might look like you're following your intuition sometimes, and it's creating like small stuff, but it's not creating the big stuff. And likely you've tried to follow your awareness to create the big stuff, the life-changing stuff, whether it's in business, whether it's in your life or relationships, but it didn't work out. So then we've got to deal with this other layer, which is a new belief called, I followed my awareness before, but it didn't work. Now I don't trust myself. And so then what we have is a failure loop. Okay. And that failure loop goes around and around and around. And then what that does is if you're not fully trusting your intuition, then you're confused, and then doubt will pop up, and then you won't make the choice. Okay. Or the other thing that'll happen is you'll try to justify that choice with some sort of rationale or logic. And you'll say, well, I chose this because, or I didn't choose it because I wasn't feeling it, or some other rationale or justification, usually based on logic that sounds good, but really you're negating yourself, and it shows a lack of trust in yourself. Now, this happens all the time. And if you're in this place, like I get it, I've been there in certain areas of my life. And it was one of the big areas that I had a breakthrough in, which is the next element, which is structure. Now, if you're going to live your life based on intuition, you must have structure. Otherwise, you're not going to have the clarity you need to manifest your desires. Okay. Now, a lot of people sort of go into this intuition and say, well, I don't need any structure because I've got my intuition. Well, if you're having any confusion and doubt, indecision and inaction, but the big indicator is if your life isn't showing up beyond your wildest imagination, you need structure. Now, I did this, I will 100% admit, and I see so many of my clients do it too, is that because they're intuitive, they throw structure out the window because they think structure is linear or structure is logical. And they're like, no, I'm throwing all of that away. I'm just going with my intuition. But what happens is if you have a river only flows with the structure of the banks, right? You can only flow. Otherwise, it's just a lake sitting there, right? You have to have the structure so that you can have the flow. And this structure offers you even greater ability to use your intuition. The other element is that there's a thing called decision fatigue. You can only make so many decisions a day. And if you're only relying on your intuition to run your life, then you're going to run out of choices, like decisions to make every day. And when we have structure, that takes care of that, because you know where to focus your energy, your time, your perspective, and your choices in a direction to go in. Because if you're saying, hey, universe, give me all the options, well, there's infinite options. How are you supposed to choose? Well, unless you have a structure, unless you have a direction to go in. And this is where a lot of people just get sort of washed around in circles, because you don't have the structure so that you can gain clarity with ease, and that you can manifest anything that you desire, like truly anything. Now, the other thing that the structure does is that it enables you to have a clear next step. And when you're clear on that, guess what goes away? Confusion and doubt. Because when you have that clear next step, you take that clear next step and it starts manifesting those results, then you're not going to be in indecision and inaction. You're going to be inspired in your action, right? So the structure is massively important so that you can step into the version of you, the identity, which is what we're going to talk about next, that is confidently having the clarity and manifesting the desired results that you want. Now, where do you get that? You get that in the next level, which is being. Now, in the being level, this is where most people who are in the intuitive level, intuition, they think they're in being, but they're not. You're not in being unless you have structure. Okay. All right. All right. So here's where you're confident, inspired, and then you have what you really want, which is the flow and alignment. Because if you've done any studying about any of this at all, you know that flow is possible. You know that the manifestations can come. You know that you can be in your flow. You can have the universe working for you 24/7. But down here, you're wondering, why am I so aware, but I can't seem to get it to work for me? This is why. You're missing structure. Without this structure, you don't get the confidence and inspired action, and you don't get the flow and alignment. Okay. This is the doorway right here. Okay. Now, so many people I see go up to intuition and then they start making some stuff work, but then it stops working at some point. And that stop working is the edge of where you can go. It's like you've gotten to this line, this top level, and it stops working. The reason it stops working is now it's time to add the structure. Okay. So if you want to be up here, confident, living inspired, like taking inspired actions, not these forced motivations. And this is the difference. Like you see where motivation is way down here, inspiration is way up here. When you are clear, right? Because you got your clarity here. When you trust yourself, the confidence goes up and you're taking inspired actions, and that catalyzes the flow and alignment. Okay. Which also catalyzes things to manifest in your desires, to manifest into your reality. Okay. And that's what we want. Okay. So you're getting what I'm throwing down here? All right. So where is the majority of your day spent? If you're totally honest with yourself, are you down in self, intuition, structure, or being? Now, during the workshop, we had a number of people say, well, I'm in being. Well, if we really look at it, because I knew a couple of them, and we were looking at their life recently. If you look at your life, you can see where you are. Are you experiencing flow and alignment? Are you experiencing consistent manifestations? Or are you experiencing indecision and inaction and concern and forced motivation, like trying to get yourself to do stuff? And then are you feeling confident and inspired? Are you feeling clarity and trust? Or are you feeling confusion and doubt, or fear and scarcity? Okay. So in your life, that's where you can see where you are. Now, your mind and your ego is going to want to say, oh, I'm up in being. Now, you might slip into that. But if you're not living a life you absolutely love, you are likely in intuition and self. Okay. But here's the cool thing is that all you require is the structure. All you require is the structure that'll create the clarity and trust and start manifesting things into your life. That's it. Now, everybody that's going up into being, that's on this path, and not everybody is in the world, but everybody that is, has to go through this. And once they figure out the structure that works for them so that they can manifest basically on demand and be in their flow, then they see how important the structure actually is. Okay. Now, doing things you don't want to do, not satisfied and not aligned. If you're in any of that, right, you're down here. You're down here. Okay. Because if you're up here in being and you're in your flow and you do something you don't want to do, that boom takes you out of flow. The other thing that does is it blocks manifestations. Okay. And then if you do that over and over and over, guess what happens? You lose clarity and trust because you're continually choosing against what would create all of this up here. Okay. And this is where we find a lot of people that are highly intuitive. Okay. Now, but what we want to do, and our goal and through our programs, is to bring you through the levels effectively so that you can get up to this level of being. That's our target with everybody. So trying to use your intuition, but it results in indecision, right? This is where we go, okay, let's remove this confusion and doubt and indecision and inaction, right? We're still using the intuition, but we're using it with structure as we move up here. This is where you start seeing your desires showing up in your life, okay? What you want, what you target for, what the goals you set, okay? You start getting that clarity and trust, it starts manifesting. It's through the doorway of the structure. Now, Identity Makeover Framework, which is my framework, gives you the structure to create your aligned life. It shows you exactly what you need to look at so that you have the awareness of what is the next step for you. And that is so powerful because we don't tell you what you need to choose. We don't tell you what you need to let go of. We don't tell you what your priorities need to be. We ask you very strategic questions that allow you to tune into your consciousness and your future self consciousness so you can reverse engineer your identity so that you can start living this life from this level of structure. And it's repeatable over and over and over. Now, the third element in my presentation was to identify exactly what to focus on next so you'll make your life 100 times easier and more fun. Okay. So if we go back to this chart, if you're in self or intuition, it's adding in the structure. Okay. That will make your life 100 times easier and more fun. The reason is because when you have clarity and you trust and the manifestations are happening because you have alignment. Okay. You're no longer confused and in doubt. You're no longer in indecision and inaction. You're actually following through for yourself. And that's the brilliance of the Identity Makeover, because this particular structure is specifically designed to give your whole identity a makeover, which is where all of your choices you're making here are based, so that you step into a version of you confidently with clarity, right? And so that you can manifest everything that you desire. The only way to upgrade your identity to match the being who is confident in your choices, right, is we've got to look at your perspective, your energy, your mindset, your choices, your responses, and your beliefs. Okay, this is the structure. And when we can systematically shift each one of these, right, and then make it permanent in your mind, your mindset, and who you're being, your subconscious mind, then we have lasting results. And when you have this structure, you can flow in, every desire will manifest. And if you don't, you'll get distracted. You'll choose based on limitations. You'll be moody about your goals. You'll allow other people to influence you, etc. Okay. I hear it all the time. It's like, I made this choice, but then I backed off because my partner didn't like it, or I was afraid to offend somebody, or whatever. Like, we stop. And what's so amazing is that when we show up for ourselves, our life shows up for us. It takes all the heavy lifting off. Now, the problems in creating a new identity, because this is the hard part, this truly is the hard part, because you're really working with reprogramming your whole operating system, right? Number one is you can't connect to your new identity as if it's real. It seems fake. It's not who you are. It's uncomfortable. Exactly, right? The old self is still choosing, right? It's because the patterns, the subconscious mind, and you're trying to do it alone and it doesn't work. Or you're trying to hodgepodge this over here and that over there. It doesn't work. This is how we solve it with our identity makeover. We identify your new identity, the new life, from your true self-consciousness, from your consciousness, not anybody else's, but yours. We gain clarity on alignment and identify new, clear choices. And this is where we start to reprogram your mind. Okay. And then you get weekly support from moment to moment choices so that you never drop off. You're fully supported. You don't get lost, and you follow through for yourself. So if you're somebody who, does half of a program and then stops, this program is for you because we have the support built in. Now, when you identify your new identity and new life, we want you to connect with your future self, not just who you think you should be, because that's all based on the old and it will never work. We want you to connect with your future self consciousness. And we have a whole framework to be able to do this that works so well. We want to identify new beliefs, new aligned beliefs. We're also going to identify the old ones so you can start recognizing when you fall into that old pattern. We're going to rewire your subconscious to align to the new identity. Rewiring your subconscious is essential. If you don't do this, it's not going to work. So then we're going to gain clarity on alignment, identify new clear choices. So this process will help you uniquely discover what is actually an alignment for you, because everybody is different. What your aligned choices are. So you're going to have, oh, this is actually an aligned choice. This actually isn't an aligned choice. You're going to start to know the difference between that. You're also going to be able to tell with your body, but you're going to have a whole map. You create a future self map. You're going to be able to see very clearly where you can make choices. It makes everything so much easier. And through the structure, instead of leaving it up to the subconscious. So through the structure of having the map and having the other things, frameworks that we support you with, then you know exactly what to choose next. It's not left up to, oh, I don't feel like it. It's like, no, here's my commitment. Here's what I'm following through. And you're going to see the most amazing results. Now, the last element here is the weekly support for moment to moment choices. None of this happens overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. It can't happen overnight. You have too many old programs and who you think you are combating anything new. And that's why anybody is stuck. It's human nature. Okay. Every day we're faced with life, and every day we're faced with the life that we've created before today. So, there's a lot of people who say, you don't get the life you want, you get the life you be. And so when we change our being, what happens is the old life still shows up. So we've got to continue to show up as the new version of you in the face of the old life. Okay. So the transformation happens in the choices you make that are different every single day. And we show you how to do that without destroying everything, without losing your whole life, without being stressed. Like, it's all way easier and much more simple, which is the simplicity part of this whole design. And we have the identity support to help you make lasting changes so you don't ever go back to who you were before. Now, the question is would you like our help to have your own identity makeover and create a simple, aligned, and satisfying life that you absolutely love in 2024? So not even the end of 2024, by February 1st, we can help you stop choosing things you don't want to be choosing and start loving your life, even if you feel like you've been stuck for years. We can help you input structure to create anything. It doesn't matter. That's why a lot of times I don't say what we're creating, because people have done everything from pay off $75,000 of debt to 4 to 5x their income, to stand up to their boss when their boss was being toxic, to transitioning jobs, to making 4 times more money, to exiting relationships that were no longer working confidently with no regrets, to just simply stopping doing stuff in life and start loving life. Like the whole gamut. We've supported people in hundreds and hundreds of different things. So it doesn't actually matter what it is. It's anything that you actually desire, so that you're no longer living with indecision, guilt, wavering on your choices, or unclarity. By February 1st, we can help you have confidence in your choices, even if other people don't agree. And that's a tough one for people, especially if you've been a people pleaser, especially if you've backed down on yourself. If you are somebody who is in reaction to your external circumstance, we can help you. You need this framework. Okay. We can help you trust yourself so you have momentum before the first quarter of the year is over. How great would that be? Identity Makeover is on special right now until January 1st, and then goes up to $1,597 US. So right now it's $1,297, or you can start with $300 payment now and 4 additional payments. So if you go to CoryMichelle.org, the button should be below /Identity Makeover. You can get all the details. We start the group embodiment sessions the second week of January, and you get access right away. So if you've got time over the Christmas holiday, you can actually just dive in and get your makeover started. Now, I've got 2 bonuses that are available for you. One of them is these group embodiment sessions that we have weekly are brilliant, because other people are going to say stuff and you're going to go, oh my God, that's going on with me too. And that's one of the things we find is that in your blind spots, other people are going to share stuff. And so it's so valuable to have that community support and other people going through it with you. The second thing we're going to gift you if you sign up today is 3 one-on-one sessions with one of our success coaches. Now, this is fantastic because so much of the time, your stuff is going to come up. Your ego is going to come up. Your beliefs are going to come up. Your limitations are going to come up. Your edges are going to come up. And what we help you do is move through those effectively so that you have a whole new arsenal of choices to be able to make at your disposal. And this is the structure part. When you insert yourself into a structure specifically for what you want, it creates miracles. So our structure that I've created called the Identity Makeover has multiple elements that lead you through to the other side. So all you have to do is insert yourself and show up, and the rest will happen for you. It's amazing. So, then I have one more extra bonus. So if you're watching this recording, there may be some of these left. And that is a private one-on-one session for me. The first 7 people who join us with a pay in full option for $12.97. So if you want to do that and you want a one-on-one session with me, we can dive into all your stuff. It's amazing. It's so much fun. Then go ahead and take that option. So it starts immediately as soon as you want to jump on in. And then we actually start the official program the second week of January. Now, here's the cool thing about this is you don't have to be stuck anymore. You don't have to be one of those intuitive people that isn't living your dreams anymore. You can be an intuitive person who's used that intuition and added the structure to your life so that you know how to create any one of your desires at any time, like clockwork. I'd love to invite you, if this is resonating for you, into our program called the Identity Makeover. Just click the link below. You'll see a little bit more details on the next page, and make sure you get in while the price is at this good price. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, and look forward to seeing you in the program if you feel like it's a fit for you and you want to make massive changes in your life, because that's how we roll. We'll talk to you soon.